It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, and welcome again to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
June 12th.
Yes, I'm still here.
2012. Mystery Mark with
The views
Steve
and opinions
Proncielman.
expressed by guests on
How you
Dart
doing,
Talk
Mark?
do not necessarily
I'm doing
reflect
well. Why
the
does this
thoughts
keep happening? I'm hanging in there.
I'm telling you, I'm having a rough day.
How are you doing, other than the rough day?
I'm good. I had an interesting weekend. It was one of the biggest sports weekends you could possibly have for pretty much everybody. I mean, there was they got soccer in Europe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We had hockey. You had the NBA. Manny Pacquiao apparently got totally
jobbed.
Got
hosed.
Just got totally
Hosed.
jobbed by, Lord knows, a couple of old white men sitting ringside.
Right.
And, maybe they got their own 401k. I don't know.
I'm thinking Floyd Merriweather paid off the judges is really what happened.
From jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So then you had a big boxing match. You had a golf tournament.
Right.
That I think so. But we also had we have results from 5 tournaments.
5 tournaments.
So it was a big weekend for darts too. We've got the CVDA in Richmond. We got full results from them. Thank you very much. We have partial, unofficial results from the Houston Open because I can't seem to get timely results out of Texas for some reason. The UK Open, which is I think the closest thing the PDC runs to what we do here, where you play more than one match a day.
Right.
And they have multiple matches going on at the same time and stuff like that. So the atmosphere is a little more like what we're used to seeing. I got a chance to watch a bunch of that. There was an MLD event in Nashville, so we got the results from that. And I went to Janesville.
Yes.
Dartslive rolled out their...
By the way, what happened in Nashville? I thought you were going to Nashville originally, and then...
well, originally I was gonna. It just turned into a little bit too much of a strain. I mean, I played 4 weekends in a row, and I'll be honest, it's kind of burned out. And I wish I would have went. They had an ADO qualifier and an MLD regional back-to-back in Nashville over the weekend, which those two things match up so well. Because they're both kind of round robin,
right.
0-1 things.
Throwing a lot of darts.
Well, yeah, you get a lot of darts in, and if you want to calculate how much you spend per dart, it's probably the biggest bargain a steel tipper will see is doing one of these weekends. So yeah, I wanted to do that, but I was glad that I went to Wisconsin because I've been hearing a lot about the Dartslive Asia boards and stuff, and I kind of took one for the team. I'm like, you know what? I want to go check these out, see what it's all about. I had a long chat with Rob Heckman, who's the guy kind of in charge of getting Dartslive out there to the world. Basically, it's already big in the Far East. So I got a chance to play on those boards. I got a chance to play the shootout. The game that they use in the world stages to seed is this. It's kind of like you play around the world.
Right.
Every dart.
To where you're getting up to 10,000
The multiplier
points.
goes up. Yeah. I did not get to 10,000. I got. I played 3 games, I think, 3 or 4, and my second game I got just under 9,000. I got 89.70 or something.
What were other people getting to?
According to the thing, I was 3rd in the bank of machines or on that. I don't know. I mean, I saw a lot of guys playing it, and they were getting, 6s. They were confused. I mean, nobody really knew how to play it except the guys that had already been over there. So it wasn't, I mean, it was.
Do we have a dartboard review then?
Well, you know what? We should, and I will give everybody my impressions of the Dartslive Asia ones,
Of course
and
you will.
then we can do an official product review on it. Down the road, we got too many results and too much stuff to get to do it. I think well today. But the I enjoyed. I have to think of these Dartslive boards as being the cutting edge as far as what you can do on an electronic dart machine. Is that what they're called? Dartboard machine, dart machine,
It
electronic.
would just be a machine.
Right.
It'd be a dart machine, I would assume.
They did not have the laser beam light that shoots down at your feet like the one in Michigan, which
for your foot
I
faults.
I thought that was totally cool. They do have a camera that shoots the player, and you can do all this virtual matches, play
Right.
over the. It's kind of like playing over the internet, I guess. But I mean, the machines are linked remotely, so you can play strangers in other countries and stuff like that, which I took an informal poll. I talked about 25, 30 people. Just, hey, what do you think? What do you think? Everybody seemed to think that was really cool, that you'd be able to play, remotely.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. The one thing that I found somewhat jarring at first, but then I came to like it, and then after I came to like it, I came to really like it, and after I came to really like it, I just thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. Okay. The actual face of the board. You've played soft tip.
Yes.
All right. Like the machines you're used to seeing, like the Arachnid machines or the old Valley machines, what have you. When you pop in your quarters, there's lights around the board, kind of on the side of the frame, that light up the board. The Dartslive Asia boards don't do that. The Dartslive Asia boards are luminescent, and the light comes from inside the machine and comes out. So it's actually, and the colors are different. They're like pale red and pale blue, usually. We'll get to the colors later.
Depends on how long you've been at the bar.
Right. No. So it took a while to get used to, but what I found was that the lighting, it's the best lighting for a board I've ever played, steel or soft, because there are absolutely no shadows.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Because the light is coming from inside the board, and each individual segment is lit.
Right.
So once I got used to the colors, which are different than I'm used to, I was like, well, okay, these lights are pretty good. And then we're playing this shoot-up game where what I was told was you shoot the first 6 numbers, you just shoot in the fat. You don't want to risk
1 through 6.
Yeah,
right.
1 through 6. You don't want to risk like leaking it into the trip 18 or the trip 20. Just throw your fat 1 and move on. It's not worth that much, right? So as I'm throwing it into the fat, what I notice in these segments is that you can see little jagged like circuit wires from the circuit board that is behind the thing in the fat itself. So when I play on a steel board, if I need like a fat 15, I'll look for a little
dart hole, an old hole,
something.
whatever.
Yeah, something that I can zero in on in the fat. And especially like the Arachnid boards that are black, I've always had a hard time finding anything to really focus on. But these, you can focus on the little jagged circuit line that's right close to the middle, and I found that extremely helpful.
Right.
So I was like, okay, these boards are extremely playable. I don't know, the color scheme strikes me as being a lot different than what people here are used to. We're used to like, the bold primary colors on the boards, red, black, whatever. And these are almost like translucent, and so I don't know, the people I talk to, nobody cared.
Right.
It's like, it's just another dartboard. So, maybe
You're
I'm
still aiming at a number.
Well, yeah, and maybe I'm making too much of it, but I thought we don't know how durable they're going to be yet because they just showed up, but I was pretty.
Would you have a problem playing
impressed.
in a tournament if you play on one board and it's got black and red numbers and the other board's got green and red numbers?
I don't. Potentially anything can trip you up, and we're supposed to start talking about the mental game,
yeah.
Which I wanted to wait until we talked about the UK Open about that. whenever things go wrong, you can always point to something that's throwing off your focus. The guy's tripping over the hockey next to you, or the chalker moved, or somebody spilled a beer, whatever. I mean, it's hard enough to focus with all the commotion that goes on, especially if you're playing in a bar where some people don't really care that you're having a dart game going on. They're busy playing pool or square dancing or whatever it is people do.
Yelling, singing.
Screaming, whatever. So, but I'm
so
not
overall,
really terribly. I'm not fond of going to a tournament that has two different kinds of boards, where one has like the banded boards with almost no wires, and then the other ones have the big thick round wires. I hate that because I think that there's a competitive difference there. It's like, well, this guy's playing on a bounce out board and this guy's not. I mean, if he has darts that hit the floor and he ends up losing, how happy is he going to be?
Right.
Like, well, I would have won if I played on a good board.
On the other board.
You're building in, all this excuses and whatnot, which, nobody needs.
So overall,
that.
how much were you there for 2 days or?
No, I went there. What they did was they had everybody got. It was supposed to start at 12. I got there at 11, thinking that I would have at least a half hour of board time, so I could pull out my soft tip darts that I've used once in my life and try to get dialed in a little bit.
At least learn how to pull them out of the board.
They came out easier on these.
Oh,
there was only one time where I pulled them and the thing almost fell over on me, and I was like, I can't. Ray Carver is telling me I'm just using bad tips.
Right.
And I should use, the tips
or
that
you need
his
to
company makes. I mean, well, Paul came up with the oil thing. He's like, well, here you go. And I threw 3 and 2 got stuck. I'm like, go ahead, pull them out. See how it works. But I guess once you break in your points, they come out easier. So I guess it's only for me.
Which means you just have to play soft tip more often.
Well, yeah, and to be honest with you, if soft tip is not. I don't think soft tip is easier than steel tip, and I think a lot of steel tippers have the idea in their head that because they're good at steel, they're soft tip, they're going to be even better at soft tip.
Right.
And there are enough differences in where the segments are in relation to the bullseye, where the line is in relation to it usually is, and then I did talk to Rob Heckman about how come you guys can't get with the times and get rid of this weight restriction on darts. Why can't I throw heavier darts? And they're worried about board durability, and I'm like, well, so I don't know another. I don't know another sport where we talked about the soft spikes.
Yeah.
Right. They made breakaway rims in the NBA once guys started pulling down the backboards, but I don't see professional baseball saying, okay, the third foul ball you're out because we don't want to run out of baseballs. Or
no, but
a competitive event, the rules should be determined, from a competitive standpoint, not like, okay, well, don't step on first base. We don't want to wear out first base, so just go around it, and the ump will guesstimate whether you're safe or not. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So
it's a little over the top of my mind. They still got. There's a computer behind the board.
Over the top. Well, there is, and I actually, one of the guys opened up the board so I could kind of see the guts and all the wires and everything, and there is a pretty fragile circuit board that sits behind, the plastic thing with the holes in it that you hit, whatever they call that, the face. I don't know. There's probably a technical term.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, and that thing. I mean, I could definitely see you beating on that thing, but you could, there are guys that probably throw an 18-gram dart that hits the board with more pounds per square inch than my 24-gram steel darts do. So, and then the other thing I said was look, and that's why I started the show. That quote, I believe, was from our second show.
Okay.
And
not our second show.
Well, no, Dart Talks,
second
the
show.
institution's second show. But the idea there, and I did mention this to Rob Heckman, because I'm like, how come if you play soft tip, you don't win a free game for a perfect game or something, like you did in pinball?
Okay,
if you got the high score, you'd
absolutely.
get 3 free games or something.
That was a goal.
How come you don't get that in soft tip? Because I would think it would get people playing
to win free games.
Well, yeah, if you throw a perfect 501 game, you win a free game. Well, guys will play more 5-0 that way. You throw a perfect cricket game, you get, a free game or something. I mean, I don't understand why that's not part of the deal. And I come from the pinball generation. He thought it was a good idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're all about. We're all about sharing good ideas to the multitude.
Getting stuff for free.
Well, I like getting stuff for free.
If possible.
Putting quarters in. And we got to get to a commercial, but here's the one thing that I found that struck me as strange, is they had 10 boards. So we're playing this count-up thing. They put us in like pro, middle, and beginner or something. They had people broken up into 3 groups. So you throw 8 rounds, you try to get the highest score you can, and then you wait for everybody else. So there's 4 players at a time. We're on 2 boards, so we're basically playing like once an hour. So I figure my turn's coming up, and somebody's like, well, there's 3 free boards down at the end, and I'm like, oh, cool. All right, so I go over there, and these guys want to play games, and one guy wants to play cricket. I'm like, you're in the middle of a count-up event. Why would you want to play a game of cricket?
Right.
And he's like, well, what do you want to do? It's like, I just want to throw. I don't actually want to play a game. I just want to throw some darts at the board. And everybody looked at me like I was from outer space, and it occurred to me that, from the steel tip culture, you just throw until you start a game. But in the soft tip culture, it seems to me, guys will play games to warm up instead of actually warming up. Just warming up, right. And I don't know. I found that somewhat strange. Well, can I say?
Yeah,
I found
your
it
opinion,
odd. And I'm like, okay,
you're entitled to it.
And so at one point, these guys sort of insisted on playing a game, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm outvoted.
Right. So you played a game?
No, I left. I went outside and I was like, well, I just wanted to get some board time in. I was waiting around for a long time. You get stiff if you wait around too long. So let's do our first commercial break, and we will be right back.
Char, you already know someone who's been personally affected by a coffee addiction.
Mommy, please put the mug down.
Sometimes I can't even get out of bed unless I visualize that hot cup of coffee. You may already know of coffee's dark past in the seedy underbelly of Cairo and Mecca. But you may not know the staggering numbers of modern-day coffee houses. The highly addictive quality of coffee makes it the perfect gateway drug. It's almost impossible to just have one cup. But there is hope on the horizon. People just like you have created Loca, lovers of coffee addicts. Team up with Loca in the fight against this addictive bean. With your help and donations, Loca can make a difference by giving tools to addicts, empowering them to make good decisions right from the start of the day. This ad has been paid for by Loca, lovers of coffee addicts.
T-bowing, insanity,
commercial fits you.
Planking, owling, Coney 2012. Trends spread across our nation as quick as wildfires, but fade even faster. If you or someone you know suffers from following trends, remember that no matter how hard you try to get rid of the evidence, chances are someone has proof. So the next time you think about jumping on a trend, remember how embarrassed you were when you found that video of your mom doing the Macarena. You're gonna have kids someday. Don't let that be you.
Okay, and we're back. Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, thanks to Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts.
Of course.
And where were we?
I think we were done with Janesville.
Done with Janesville.
Unless you had something else to say about it, but I don't know. Seems like we covered it. Unless there was results.
No, they had a blind draw. Scotty Kirchner posted who won. I didn't stick around.
Right.
I was out early. I lost 2 more diddles to Ray Carver in the
good.
blind
So
draw.
the streak continues.
It's up to 18, I
Nice.
think now. 18 straight diddles I've lost to the same guy. It's brutal.
All right.
I don't even know. He must be laughing his head off. Every time he's got a diddle against me, I'll bet you he'll start throwing them backwards.
Either way, he's going to close his eyes.
Yeah, he'll close his eyes
Yeah.
and throw them like flight first, and
just to see what happens.
Yeah, he'll probably hit a triple, and then I'll start bouncing stuff out and get so frustrated I'll throw one in the wall. Gosh knows. We do have lots of results. Let's do the easy one first and give you a warm up. There was an MLD.
Nashville?
I guess they call them regional. Yeah, there was an MLD regional in Nashville on Sunday, and they also had an ADO All-Star qualifier the day before. Congrats, by the way, to Ryan Barnett for getting through on that one. There's too many ADO regionals to read the results on all of them. But I did talk to Chuck about the MLD format. He's in love with it. He just thinks it's great, and you get so many darts in. And we were talking right before the show, and he was telling me how well they match up with these ADO shoots. And I think they've done it before. I know that they did it in South Carolina, and if they could do that more often, I'll bet you anything, you'll end up getting more participation in the ADO regional. I mean, it's only like $50 to play in these these MLD things, and you end up playing all day. I mean, wish we could get one going in Chicago.
I'm sure you'll work on that if you have to.
Like I don't have enough to do.
All right, so you want
let's do the
MLD of Nashville.
Right. Yeah. I'll do the consolation. Congrats to Bubba Melton. He was the consolation winner.
And then top 4 goes to Earl Dunkelberger and Ryan Burnett, and then Mike Ray loses 8-1 to Chuck Pankow.
So congrats to Chuck. Well played. Chuck said he was playing pretty good. Ryan was playing pretty good.
8-1.
Yeah, 8-1's kind of a beatdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He must have been throwing pretty well.
Well, he told me, he took out like a 105 going for the bull first.
Really?
When bull tops, and then he's like, yeah, after that all the 1080s started going in. And I'm like, oh, that's a great feeling. And Mike played pretty good to get there. They had a tough group. And they had he told me how many people they had. I mean, he wanted to get more. A couple of people couldn't make it, but it sounded like pretty good high level of darts. Let's do Houston next. We have incomplete results from Houston because Texas is the black hole when it comes to getting results. They start here.
Right.
But we do have some, so let's run through those.
All right, the Houston tournament, men's 501 singles, Chris Helms gets second. Leonard Gates wins that. Men's cricket singles, Chris Helms again was second, and Leonard Gates again wins that. Women's 501 doubles,
Sweeble.
The hookers are second with Sarah Simons and Brenda Rausch winning that. Women's cricket doubles, Valerie Goad and Lori Cooper. Second place, Sarah Simons and Brenda Rausch win that. Women's cricket singles, Brenda Rausch second and Sarah Simons first. Women's 501 singles, Brenda Rausch second.
Yeah, Brenda said that she had to forfeit the final of the 501 to catch a plane. So
and therefore we decided not to have
she didn't know. Well, she sent me some of these results, and she didn't know who won the 5-0, and I couldn't find out before the show. Yeah, she had no idea. She had to go.
All right. Congratulations to Anonymous for winning the 501 singles.
Well played.
Yeah, she shot great. Mixed doubles, Joe Cheney and Morgan McCormick take that. Mixed triples, Bill Davis, Morgan McCormick, and Joe Cheney. Mixed cricket doubles, second place goes to Bill Davis and Joe Cheney with Leonard Gates and Connolly Litton winning that. And men's 501 doubles, Neil Wooding and Stu. No last name in there.
No last name, yeah.
For second place, Leonard Gates, Connolly Litton. For first place in men's 501 doubles. And the Saturday blind draw, second place goes to Joe Cheney and Neil Wooding with Connolly Litton and...
That's Shane. I cut it out. Shane Hampstead. Yeah.
Okay.
And also congratulations to Marlise Keel for winning the women's 501 singles.
Did we just find that out? All right.
I'm telling you, there's nothing like real time. So congrats to Marlise for winning the 5-0. And okay, we got a lot of results from the CVDA. We're gonna have to just you're gonna have to go because I want to talk about the UK Open last.
All right.
Let's just run through like the top 2.
34th annual Dart Classic, Friday, blind draw, second place Chris Capello and Michael Hardy. First place goes to Bob Miskey and Chris Linkos.
Chris Linkus, yeah.
Linkus. Blind draw cricket. Second place, Tony Jordan and Robbie Phillips. First place goes to Matthew Thompson and Jeff Morgan. Saturday's mixed doubles cricket. Larry Butler and Marcia Loesch get second.
Marcia Locke.
Locke, Loesch. You could say...
It matters to Marcia.
I apologize to Marcia. And Darren Young and Marilyn Pop take that one. Ladies doubles cricket, Colleen Eldridge and Maria George. Second place, Marilyn Pop and Marcia Locke.
There you go.
Take that. Men's singles 501. Larry Butler second place with Joe Triples Huffman winning that.
I'm going to let that slide.
Yeah, I know you will.
Right.
Ladies singles, Laura Hart second place and Marilyn Pop wins that. Men's doubles cricket, Bill Dye, Ken Hostler Sr. Second place, and then Darren Young and Larry Butler win the men's doubles cricket. Mixed triples 601, Joe Huffman, Amy Gartrell, and Scott Frazier Sr. second place, and then Brian Blake, Callie West, and Ricky Davis take first. Blind draw 501, Joe Huffman and Scott Frazier Sr. with first place going to Stephen Price and Matthew Thompson. And then Sunday's matches, men's doubles 501, Chris Linkus and Mike Lagana, second place, and first place goes to Scott Frazier Jr. and Mark Fair. Ladies doubles 501, Susanna Kovac and Kelly West, second place, Marilyn Pop and Marcia Locke, first place. Men's singles cricket, Chris Pace gets second with Larry Butler being the winner.
Yeah, word about the men's singles cricket. I talked to Robbie Phillips before the show, and Robbie told me it's the first time he's ever seen two different players, which was Larry Butler and Brian Blake, in separate matches against other people, throw 3 straight 9 counts.
Oh yeah.
So they both must have had it going pretty well. Yeah, thought I'd mention that.
That's good information.
Okay.
I hope everybody else is excited about that. Ladies singles cricket, Marilyn Pop gets second with Callie West winning that. Men's doubles 501, Darren Young and Marilyn Pop second place.
That's mixed doubles.
What'd I say?
Men's.
Oh, mixed doubles. Darren Young with Marilyn Pop second place with Brian Blake and Callie West winning that. And then the youth events, Saturday youth 13 to 17 age group.
For the youths.
Third place Samuel Hicks, second place Robert Lyons, and first place Joseph Hicks. Saturday youth 6 to 12 age group. Top 4, Destiny Whiteside, Noah Yancey with Madison Yancey getting second, and Dominic Punt getting first. And then the Sunday youth adult 6 to 12, top 4, Yoa Nancy, Larry Butler with Destiny Whiteside and Stephen Price. Second place goes to Madison Yancey and Neil Adams, and Dominic Punt and Chris Linkus winning that. And the Sunday youth, age 13 to 17, Samuel Hicks and Kenny Highsmith get third, Joseph Hicks and Randy Hicks get second, and Robert Lyons and Mark Hines get first. And there you have your 34th annual Central Virginia Dart Association Dart Classic.
Yeah, CVDA. Well played to everybody. You know, it's funny. We have gotten emails now off and on for 9 months. People who go to tournaments and are unhappy with the way they're treated by, you know, some of the professionals. Oh, well, this guy said this to me, or this guy ignored me, or this guy didn't remember that I talked to him, and stuff like that. And but I'll tell you, you know, if you really want to watch the pros conduct themselves, watch one of these Sunday morning youth events where you see the pros helping out the younger players, and it's really a sight to see. I mean, they're not even on their best behavior. They're just sort of like relaxed and kind of the way I know them from just talking to them, because I hear complaints about pros that I'm just shocked they're talking about the same person. It's not the guy I know you're talking about. So I think we should acknowledge the, you know, and they get up early. You know, it's Sunday morning. You've played Friday and Saturday. Then you get up early. It's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we're going to, I talked to Angie today, we are going to have our youth special segments coming up. We may not have it next week, but we'll probably have it the week after. We got to talk about our anniversary show too. That's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we got big plans for that one, right? We're working on it.
I don't know about that, but we should acknowledge ourselves in some way, shape, or form. You know, at least like get some scotch. I don't know, do something. I mean, people don't realize, you know, what it takes to do this show. You've been doing it since like the beginning of the year, right?
Right.
You have to drive, I don't know how long to get here, and you know, it's funny. I mean, people don't realize how hard it is to do something every week. Like I've seen, I wanted to do, I listened to our second show, our first full hour show, and I went through and I looked at my original notes for the show, and I had all these segments that I wanted to do. And one of them was called The Feedlot, where I was going to look through on the internet all the blogs that darters do. And I was like, you know what, I haven't done that in a while. So I went and I looked through a bunch of darters' blogs, right?
Just recently.
Yeah. One hasn't been updated since February. Another one hasn't been updated since March. And it's like, yeah, well, okay, everybody wants to do a blog and stuff, and it takes time, and it's great that everybody does it. But when you have to do it every single week without fail, you don't realize how. So I'm just saying, it's not as easy as it. It's not as easy as it looks sometimes.
It's not as easy as this.
Can we just?
It's what this looks like.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. But we. Wow, did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that. So you got some darts.
Squeaky piece of.
What's your last?
Well,
Darts
we got
Live?
some. Well, yeah, we talked about the Darts Live. We got some emails about our selection of Paul Lim as
For the
having
stroke?
the
good or bad.
Well, I think some people were genuinely offended.
Really?
That they weren't selected, and I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, everybody who plays well has a good stroke.
Right.
Like, I can't think of one player that is good that doesn't have a good stroke. I mean, like a good example is Jerry Van Loan. Like, every time I see Jerry Van Loan, he plays great. But he's got a stroke that very few people could even copy, much less emulate. So how do you say, well, you know, throw like this guy?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're looking for somebody that is around, that's available, that people can look at. I mean, I could pick a guy from Chicago that I think has an impeccable stroke, but he's not on YouTube. Nobody's going to, and he doesn't travel, and he doesn't even play anymore.
Right.
So how can we pick him? So, you know, some of those factors, you know, went into
the decision.
Yeah, and then we couldn't pick Darren.
Right.
Because we picked him for stance.
Yeah.
We couldn't pick Phil Taylor. And I want to pick Americans. I mean, we could point to a bunch of British guys that I think have, like, phenomenal strokes that you could emulate. Like Mark Walsh or Raymond van Barneveld or Dennis Ovens. Although I watched him over the weekend, and he's developed something that I'll have to look back in the tape and see if he's always done that or if it's just more pronounced. But I remember the first time I saw him throw in person in Chicago 6 years ago, and I was like, holy cow, look at that guy. Is he fantastic? And, I talked to him for a while, and he was very accessible. He's like, oh, yeah, I don't really play much. I've been playing 20 years. I play Super League, and then I'll, break the darts out a couple of weeks before a tournament, and I'll practice at home. Then I'll just show up and play. And he does really well.
Right.
He's one of the, year in and year out, one of the top floor players in the PDC. But he had this deal that I watched in the semi where Taylor was just killing him. And we'll do the UK Open results after the next break. But he's playing Taylor. Taylor starts out really, really fast, which is kind of... Did we do a second commercial yet?
All right, not really.
Over. Okay. So Taylor's just pummeling him, and I'm watching Ovens, and he's setting the dart up, and as he brings the dart back, he's lifting his arm up like 4 inches, and I'm like, where'd that come from? So
maybe it's because he doesn't play anymore.
No, there's a reason he does it, and we could talk about it after the break. You're listening to Dart Talk, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Sarah. gosh, he's so cute.
Been doing like I taught you. Love the new tattoo, Sarah.
Dude, that's Sarah. The girl in the pink shirt. That's the girl I was telling you about.
Theater 2 on your left. Hey, Sarah. What color underwear today?
Hey, Sarah. So when are you going to post something new?
Anything you post online, anyone can see. So think before you post.
Are you a gravelly-voiced, chain-smoking young poet with a raconteur bent? Do you find yourself passing out and or waking up in seedy bars that some might describe as toilets? Do you find the mainstream American public has yet to recognize your musical genius? If so, you may be a child of Tom Waits. Now, if you think you are a child of Tom Waits, please write to us at the VH1 Archives, 1515 Broadway, 21st floor, New York, New York, 10036. Please remember to lick your own stamps so
I'm Susan. I work for the Red Bar. I grew up here in Chicago, and I'm listening to Dart Talk.
Susan the waitress.
Susan the waitress. Thanks, Susan the waitress. That was at the Bullshooter, I think.
Oh, okay.
She was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So hopefully she's still listening to the show.
Right.
But welcome back to Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Yeah, so we're talking about Dennis Ovens lifting his arm and all this stuff.
Well, I would like to say, first of all, though, at least, we can't please everybody. So at least people are paying attention if you're getting some emails on our pick for stroke.
Yeah. I'm all for criticism. Hopefully it's done good. It's conveyed in a decent way, but
right.
You can't have everything. No, criticism, whatever. I've been criticized my whole life, so
you're used to it.
It's not like I don't criticize other people.
Right.
So
what?
I mean, I try to be
really?
we try to be constructive about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that's just kind of how the show's evolved. We throw ideas out there, and hopefully
see what people think.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, as a dart community, I think it's good that even if you disagree, at least you speak your mind.
Yeah.
Be respectful of everybody else's opinion, and realize that bottom line is I'm right.
Steve's opinion is always the best.
And then it just makes life
everybody else
so much
can
easier.
share their opinions, but in the end, all be all.
Well, no, it reminds me. It always reminds me of this movie Tequila Sunrise.
Yeah.
Did you ever see it with Mel Gibson and Michelle Pfeiffer and the late Raul Julia?
Yeah.
So there's a scene where
Kurt Russell as well.
Yeah, Kurt Russell. They're on a boat, right?
Yeah.
And is it J.T. Walsh? No, I forget. The guy who plays the cop that gets shot. Yeah. He's dead too. I ran into him once.
Oh, I didn't know he passed away.
Yeah, he passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, it's too bad. No, so there's a scene in the boat where Raul Julia is telling Mel Gibson that they have to murder Michelle Pfeiffer because she knows too much, or because they're criminals. And Mel Gibson is like, well, what if I don't agree? And Raul Julia's like, well, we'll keep talking till you do.
Yeah.
That's always been kind of my attitude. It's like, we could keep talking about this, and eventually you guys will see the light.
Yeah.
And, realize that I'm right. So anyway, getting back to...
You ever been on a jury?
I've been in jury pools where they took one look at me and settled. They were like, no. Anyway, the deal with... remember Ronnie Baxter? I was talking about the whole thing where he brings the dart back and then turns it around his face, and you're talking about Dennis Ovens' arm swing being up and down, and then you notice that some of these guys like Paul Lim and Raymond Van Barneveld are swinging their arms in. What these guys are all trying to do is they're trying to line up the dart without obscuring the target.
Okay.
And so a lot of people say, well, what you want to do is line up the dart in your sight, alongside it, and then fix it later. I don't subscribe to that theory at all, but apparently it's pretty common with some of the professionals. So depending on how long your arms are and how tall you are and what you're shooting at and how far you lean and all these other variables, I can see why some guys would do that. And so, but I don't remember Dennis Ovens literally having to lift his arm up 4 inches to deliver a dart every single time, because that movement has to be exact every time, and how can you do it? and then you're under pressure, and the other guy's just like raining, trip 20s on you. I mean,
so but
like they say in the right stuff, it can blow at any scene.
He didn't used to do it.
I'll have to look at some YouTube of him. I don't remember it being that pronounced.
Okay.
The first time I saw him, there might have been a little, like half an inch or something like that. But I mean,
4 inches
this was
drastic.
like, heaving it up,
Right.
and I was like, geez, Louise. And unfortunately, I didn't get up early enough to watch him in the match before that he won to see if he was still doing that. So we could talk about some about the UK Open. A lot of people probably didn't get a chance to watch it because everybody was out playing.
Right.
The level of play was pretty outstanding. The level of competition was good as well. I like Robert Thornton, who eventually won. I actually played him once.
Yeah.
And, he was pretty gracious about it. He could see I was pretty irritated. It was one of those deals. It was one of the early PDC things that I went to where I won my board. So I had to play Robert Thornton in the round of 16, I guess. And the guy I beat to win my board had to chalk, and he was irritated that he lost to an American. So he was dancing around and, like, playing in his pocket when I was at the line and stuff like that. And I was furious, and the guy played pretty good, and he ended up, I shook his hand, hey, good luck to you later. And then I went to the official and said, hey, that guy, let me tell you what he did. You should do something about him. And then I just walked out. I was like, whatever. I've had chalkers do the Macarena. I'm supposed to be able to block that stuff out.
Sure.
So speaking of blocking stuff out, now you're not going to believe this. So
okay.
Let me, because I know you were working, you didn't see this. So I'm watching the final between Taylor and Thornton.
Okay.
Taylor starts out playing really, really well. Missed a double or two, but was playing pretty good. And then, is Darren Young in the chat room? He had 101 left.
I haven't seen him yet.
He had 101 left.
Uh-oh.
This is going to become the jinx number. He had 101 left, goes for the 19, throws fat 19, goes double bull, and then whiffs on the double 16 to win the leg, and then misses 6 more darts at the double.
Really?
Between the 16 and 8. Ends up losing the leg. He falls behind like 5-3, where the stats were Thornton had hit 5 of 12 doubles. Taylor had hit 3 of 22.
Wow.
Yeah. Just like, are you kidding me? What's going on? So I'm watching the match, and they're in the middle of a leg where it's like 254 to 244 or something, and all of a sudden they go to a camera position that's way in the back of the hall where you just see like a sea of people, and then in the background you see the stage, and you can't really see what's going on the stage. And they've got the score up there. It's, 254, 256, 244, whatever it was. And nothing's happening. The score's not advancing. And I'm like, did I lose the feed or something? Because, you get glitches, watching this stuff over the internet. But I see people walking around.
There's movement.
I see somebody pouring a beer. I see somebody going to the bathroom. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, as it turns out, some knucklehead, tried to, jump on the stage or something in the middle of a leg.
Of the
right. And this is what happened, and we'll talk about that. This is what happened. After that, after they restarted the match, Phil Taylor's first start at the trip 20 was missing by, and I'm going to be kind here, an inch.
Okay.
That's how far off he was. And it could have been he was discouraged that he had
blown so many doubles.
Yeah. He'd blown some legs, and Robert Thornton was playing really well. He was throwing a ton of 80s. His first double or first whack at the double 20. He was hitting it, and Taylor just looked like he just wanted to dig a hole and cover himself up and come out for the winner or something. So it was pretty weird, but the mental part of the game where you have to block stuff out, obviously that didn't bother Robert Thornton at all.
Right.
I looked through the interviews and stuff. Taylor didn't mention it as being any factor, but you got to wonder.
But it was probably
somebody who's that uncharacteristically missing by enormous amounts.
Yeah.
right? Like a control pitcher who suddenly is throwing the ball over every batter's head.
Right.
I mean, that's the equivalent of Taylor missing by an inch,
Steve
right?
Sachs not being able to throw the ball to first base all of a sudden?
Or, well,
That's
Steve
a little
Blass
drastic.
or Rick Ankiel.
Yeah.
I mean, but these guys lose it for the rest of their lives. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about, I'm pretty sure Taylor will come back from this.
I think he'll find it again, yeah.
And he had been playing so well earlier in the day. It's like, well, what happened? Okay.
Right.
Did you mentally crack? Did you physically get tired? Now, it's your third match. You're 51 years old, going on 52.
Well, that's possible.
I don't know. I mean,
But he wasn't making.
I'll try to get him on the show and ask him what
If he did
happened.
mentally
but
crack, he didn't make an excuse for it.
I didn't see. Yeah, I didn't see any excuses for
Right.
it. But I found it, kind of odd, and we may be crossing a threshold when it comes to the dart audiences and stuff like that, because the British audiences have been extremely vocal and enthusiastic for a couple of years now, where they break out in song. It's all really cool. They're breaking out in songs and stuff. I mean, the Premier League, they're throwing pennies at people and stuff like that.
Right.
At some point you have to draw the line and say, look, you have fun and everything, but you have to let the guys play, and under no circumstances. There was this guy that did this in Vegas where he dressed himself up in a diaper and ran on stage while they were awarding the finals plaque to Phil Taylor and got himself on TV and stuff like that. I mean, and we've had that. You had that in Sox Park.
Right.
You had people running on the field, and it happens now
all
and
the time.
then. And
Yeah.
like the guy in England that Peter Jacobson tackled at
Right.
the British Open, right? I mean, this stuff does occur, and we have to go to one last commercial. I mean, we got to put a stop to it. We got to, enough's enough.
Right.
Because, at some point somebody's going to get hurt.
Of course.
Right? They're going to fall off the stage, or whatever happens. I mean,
Somebody just throw a dart at him.
yeah. Well. I mean, somebody comes charging you. You're coming back from the board after missing a double. What's your first
You got a
reaction
weapon
going to
in
be?
your
You're
hand.
going to lay the guy out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's not the image the PDC wants. So, enough of that. We'll run this through 1 minute, and we'll be right back.
Why can't guys just ask us out? They have to pretend like it's a coincidence that we both want to see a movie, or say, let's just go hang out. Of course I'm going to say yes to that. I want to go hang out with a friend. But it gets weird when that friend tries to kiss me. I don't need one more guy in my life trying to have sex with me.
Please, I love it how girls act like they don't know the code, like they don't know what hang out means. You agree to go to the movies with me, I show up bearing flowers, I pay for the movie, and the second I go in for a kiss, it's all, oh, we're just friends, right? Yeah, I asked you out because I need one more girl in my life who won't have sex with me.
Grow some balls.
Stupid.
When you buy something you don't need, just because it's on sale, you're not actually saving money. Think about it.
Hi, my name is Larry Butler, and you're listening to Dart Talk.
Okay, we're back for the fourth quarter. Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. And we'll give you the top 8 from the UK Open really quick for those of you that fell behind and didn't get a chance to catch it.
Jamie Caven, Terry Jenkins, Raymond Van Barneveld, and Wes Newton tied for 8. Third and fourth go to Dave Chisnell and Dennis Ovens. And Phil Taylor second, and Robert Thornton, if you guys missed it, wins it.
The Thorn, Robert Thornton, congrats to him. A big tournament. It's a big career thing for him.
Yeah.
He cracks the top 12, so he's in all the TV matches now and stuff like that. So it's a career changer.
That's nice.
For somebody that's outside the top 12 or top 16 or whatever. Yeah, Dave Chisnell's funny. I've heard talk that he's the next big thing.
Okay.
I've seen him score really well, but the weird thing was I was watching
you made
him.
You paused like you weren't
because
necessarily agreeing with that talk.
There's a lot of good players. I don't know why they're singling this guy out. He's had some good weekends.
Yeah.
And he's a heck of a player. I'm not sure I've seen enough to make him head and shoulders above
anybody else that's
established
coming up, right?
guys and some of these other guys that are coming up. I mean, but he's one of the few guys that's beaten Taylor, and that says something.
Yeah.
But everybody can be beaten. I mean, just because you beat Taylor once doesn't mean, you're the next world champion. I mean,
sure.
So it takes more than one match, and I don't know. I mean, but he was...
It's good to be talked about like that, though.
Well, sure. I mean, it shows you're moving up.
Right.
But the odd thing about Chizzy was he was trying to score on 19s in the semi. And I don't recall the last time I saw a top British guy going for 19s. I don't know if he was tired or he just, obviously felt the 19s were going to be more advantageous than the 20s. But you don't see that much. I've seen Paul Lim do it, and I don't recall ever seeing anybody like a top, 50 guy trying to play a long format match going for 19s. And, he was hitting them to his credit. So, maybe he just felt he should be staying on them. But I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, really? Because it messes up your math. If you're a 19 scorer, oh, my God. I'd have to go, twice as slow.
Right. To figure it out.
All the intermediate scoring, which I tried to explain this to a soft tipper in Janesville over the weekend. Intermediate scoring is a big part of playing quality. Well, yeah, playing quality 501, giving yourself your best chance of doing something. I mean, how many times you're going to take out 350 and 6 darts? Not many. How many times you're going to take out 351 and 6 darts? 0. Right? So leave yourself on 350 is what I'm saying, right? And the funny thing I've noticed more and more about Taylor is Taylor's totally blowing this stuff off now. And when he does, those are the matches I've seen him lose lately. And I'm not sure if it's a confidence thing where he just figures that the next triple's going to go in, because if it does, then it's a moot point. But, I'm seeing him leave himself on 165s and 346s and all this stuff, and I'm like, why is he doing this?
Right.
Because I know he knows better, right? He must know better if he takes out a 101 going for the 19, right? I mean, it stands to reason.
Well, once again, you're just going to have to get him on the show and ask him these questions.
We'll have to get Phil on the show. I don't know what it's going to take, but we should make a concerted effort. I'm not going to fly to England
to record it.
Well, there's other things that he has to answer to. He has to answer to ducking me in Vegas for one a few years ago.
Yeah.
And until he comes on the show and says that no, he wasn't really ducking me, that if he tells me that I had flight issues or something, I will take his word.
Then you'll believe him.
But the fact, don't send your surrogates out there to say it. I mean, it's like if you're going to duck the American, just duck them and whatever.
And admit it.
He can come on the show and explain himself.
Right.
I mean, that's no problem. I'm not going to play him in some virtual match. If he wants a piece of me, he can come to Chicago, and I'll play him at Will's.
Okay. Sure.
People will leave us alone. People at Will's won't even know who he is.
Right.
But especially if he, doesn't wear, the NASCAR shirt with all his sponsors on it. Which, by the way, can I say something about dart shirts?
You can. Do we want to hear it?
I got to tell you, I'm seeing more and more of these dart shirts, and they are very well rendered. There's one company that I met the guy in Vegas this year. They have a new process of bonding color to whatever polyester fiber, whatever that polyester is actually called. They got a technical name for it.
Okay.
So he's making dart shirts for a lot of people. The colors are very, very vivid. They look good, in supposedly the shirts. I don't have one, but they have this moisture wicking and everything, so you don't get overheated. And I told him that can you do cotton? He's like, no. I'm like, wow.
Then you're out.
Well, then I also wanted the shoulders that don't have the seam, and he's like, oh, you mean these other shoulders? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, we don't do those either. And I'm like, well, your shirts are really colorful. Well, what can I say? But I'll tell you, here's a job. And maybe we can start a sideline. We can become shirt consultants and talk some of these darters out of the shirts that they're actually wearing now. Because it looked... There are guys that have shirts that look like they copied them off a subway car.
Right.
It just looks like some weird, busy graffiti where it takes me 5 minutes to figure out where your name is and all this other stuff. and they're wearing so many, sponsor stuff.
Patches and...
Yeah, here's the deal, guys. If you're going to have 7 sponsors, nobody's going to read any of them. Okay? Because when you have 7 things on your shirt, it's too much to read when somebody's walking by.
Right. Well, but if you see them 7 times in a day...
You say hi and you look them in the eye. You don't really need all that stuff. I mean, think of a NASCAR driver, right? All the colors and everything.
Yeah.
Who's his sponsor? I don't know.
Well, except for the main one. Everybody's going to know the main one.
Well, yeah, because it's on the car.
Yeah.
But is it on his,
his
suit
jumpsuit?
Yeah, is it on his jumpsuit? No, they're covered with, every conceivable possible decal. Well, I saw a guy in Janesville over the weekend who must have had, 7 sponsors on his shirt. And I'm like, that's the ugliest rag. I wouldn't even want to wash my car with that thing. It looked terrible. And then the logos aren't complimentary.
He's getting paid to wear it...
Okay, well,
then you have
I'm just saying, look, you guys, if you really want to look good, come talk to me first.
Well, maybe they don't want to look good. They're just more into making money by wearing their sponsors.
I'm not saying get rid of the sponsors' logos. I'm just saying that, the designs of these things are absolutely horrendous. And not only are they unreadable, but one of them hurt my eyes.
Do you get a lot of compliments for looking good at dart tournaments?
I get a lot.
Okay.
I do. I get a lot, especially from the ladies.
Wondering how
thank you,
you're
ladies. No,
able to.
If you saw some of these shirts, you would agree with me.
Okay,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know. If I would ever make it out to a tournament,
they're absolutely horrible.
One of these days, I'll make it out to a tournament and I'll see what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, you need to come. Well, you'll come to Chicago. We got the PDC in Chicago, July, and this is a semi-official announcement. We're going to do a show from the PDC in Chicago, right? Did you get the day off work? And
yeah.
Do I have to call your boss?
We're going to try.
Yeah, we're going to try. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do it live. We're going to have to negotiate bandwidth from the hotel.
Right.
But we will be there, and we're not going to be like another show that kind of just hung out all day to tape interviews. If we can't do it live, I'm not sure what we're going to do because I plan on playing.
Right.
So I'm not going to be able to sit there. And then the hardest thing that Evan had in Virginia Beach was everybody was playing, so nobody could, take the time to talk to him. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Sit there and watch everybody else walk by. So we're going to have to figure something out, but we will do a show from the PDC in Chicago. And we're going to try to do it Saturday and Sunday. We'll try to be there.
It'll work out.
Ever present and get a chance to talk to everybody and class the place up a little bit.
Do our best.
I'll
wear a shirt with 15
logos and
logos
sponsors
on it.
And everything.
Yeah,
I don't. You guys just send me a picture in advance. Send me a picture in advance, and I will
code.
And I will help. I will not charge you a dime, but I will save you from looking ridiculous in some of these shirts that otherwise are good because the colors are nice. The process the guy uses for the shirt's really good. The shirts just look bad.
Right.
I can help you with that. There are people that devote their lives to making stuff look good.
Project Steve Runway.
Right, Project Runway for dart shirts.
Yeah.
Right. And I do have peeps that if I'm not sure about something, I have consultants that we can bring in for special cases.
Yeah.
So you guys that are having shirt problems, by all means, email darttalk@gmail.com and I will help you. Send your photos and please keep them clean.
Make sure the shirt is on.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah, we definitely need that. Just a reminder, you can always download our stuff off of iTunes. We're getting regular YouTube viewers now, which I like. So by all means, keep that up. I actually redid the opening credits. So if you watch this week's show on YouTube, I changed the credits around.
Okay.
So and then I will change them at least one more time because there's one thing I want to get on there that I wasn't able to. I'm still learning some of the software stuff and what you can do and what you can't do, and so we're working on that. Thanks. We got a couple of compliments on that, so thanks everybody. And we do appreciate you listening and downloading the audio off iTunes, off Stitcher.com, off TuneIn.com. Just a reminder, if you can't get in the chat, you need to open up a browser and go to Ustream directly. If you click on the Facebook link, I don't believe you can get in the chat. I'm hoping in a couple of weeks we'll have the website up where you can just go on the website.
We've been saying that for months.
I've been busy.
I know. I'm not blaming.
Oh, it's okay. I'll take the blame. I mean, it's my fault. It's nobody else's fault. But, yeah, the darttalk.us, we will get that up and running and at least have, like, links to the show and stuff. You know, the plans we have for it are grandiose. It's just a matter of, having the time to execute them.
That is true.
So we're on the hour, and we have yet to talk about the mental.
I was just going to ask you
we
that.
touched on it a little bit.
We touched on it a little bit.
Yeah,
we didn't delve into any specifics, though.
Well, we didn't, but
it's our actual approach to this whole thing, though.
Yeah.
Usually it takes us a couple weeks to get to our point.
No, I mean, it's we had, 5 tournaments to talk about, and, what do you want from me?
I wasn't complaining at all.
Yeah, the mental part of the game. I'm going to try to get Dr. D on the show for the anniversary show, and we can, have her have her reiterate some of the stuff that she was saying before. The mental part is going to be rough, and I don't even know whose head we could put on. The picture's already looking kind of funny. You've got Darren Young's lower body, and then Paul Lim on top of him. Can you imagine whose head is going to be on there?
Do we have a composite sketch going?
I do, but I have not released it because I have to get permission from Paul and Darren. Okay. So, and I haven't had time to get that. So hopefully they'll be gracious enough to oblige. So you're just going to have Paul
Lim's torso and arm on there, right?
Yeah, like from the neck down to the waist.
And then the mental's going to have somebody's head on there.
It's going to be a scary-looking creature.
But the best dart player you've ever seen.
Building the perfect darter. We're doing it from the bottom to the top.
Absolutely.
Just a reminder, we're brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. We will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Absolutely.
So, Mystery Mark signing off, and everybody safe travels, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.